Hello, and welcome to the CRM Zen Show, where we talk about all things Zoho. This is episode 318 for Friday, August 30th, 2024. FSM hits the gridley. From Zenatta Consulting, I'm Brett Martin.
And I'm Tyler Colt, and let's get right on into the show.
Oh, my friend, we've got a big one. It is August 30th. What the heck is going on? It's like, it's crazy. Absolutely crazy. No, I don't know where the year's gone. But we got 4 months left. So let's make the best of that before we put 2024 to bed, you know?
Absolutely.
And, yeah, it's been a good one, though, I have to tell you. I mean, we looks like, are we going to stick to soft landing? What do you think?
Hopefully. If we do, then, JPOW is God King if he can actually maneuver it through. It's looking that way, but knock on wood, right? You never know what might happen.
I know. I'm noticing I got these three little things sticking at the top of my screen here. I didn't center myself just correctly. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's because, Tyler, I got this new standing desk. So you know what I did? Is so I can basically, hang on, check this out, man. The same signs you see down below are up top.
Look at that.
So I can be anywhere. You know what I mean? Yeah.
On the move. Yeah, Brett on the move. That's dangerous.
On the move. I know.
Very dangerous.
Back down, you know.
You just be doing squats throughout the entirety of the show.
Well, that's what I do. That's what I do. And I got this really cool, like, isometric standing mat, you know. So I figure by using this, I'll be able to do this show well into 2025, right? Because time's flying. I'm getting older, and my joints are. So I don't know. All right. Well, we actually have a busy news week, so I don't know why I'm just rambling on here. Let's get right on into the show. But before we do, here's a message from our sponsor.
Junk data can clog up your CRM, making it harder to focus on the records that matter. Next thing you know, you've got a mountain of records to sort through, and you're not even sure where to start. This is why we created the Zenatta Health Check for Zoho CRM. This extension reads your Zoho CRM's users, leads, deals, accounts, contacts, and tasks data, and provides you with a monthly summary straight to your inbox of some of the key indicators of data quality for these core modules. With the Zenatta Health Check, you'll get notified in your monthly report whether or not you have unused Zoho CRM licenses, or if you have contacts missing email addresses, or accounts with no associated contacts. In addition, you'll get links to helpful videos and blogs from the Zenatta Resource Library showing you how you can clean up your system and keep it clean. We also include buttons on each of the core modules that let you generate your health check report whenever you need it. The Zenatta Health Check for Zoho CRM. A clean system is a better system. Download today on the Zoho Marketplace.
Well, there you go. All right, let's dive right into the news here. Zoho CRM's Workflow brings some minor enhancements. So, Tyler, anything here under Workflows that are exciting you?
Yeah, so I mean, nothing too crazy on the list. There are a few, though, that have come up over time, at least when I've been working with clients, that would have been nice to have. So one of those is rescheduling previously scheduled actions. This is in a workflow where, let's say lead status goes to cold and you set up a future action where 5 days later they will get an email. Let's say you decide, you know what, I want to take that from 5 days down to 3. Problem has been historically, anybody who was updated to cold before that happened still would have waited the 5 days, even after you made that change. Now it's basically going to say, hey, for any of them that haven't already received that action, we're going to try to move it up and actually send it out at the new scheduled time. So that is kind of nice just to keep things consistent. Another one, the date formula fields. This is minor, but I see this asked for a lot in the community forums. Yep. A lot of the times when we're setting a date dynamically, we use a script and it goes into a normal date field. So it doesn't matter as much for us. But there are a lot of cases where people are using those types of formulas, right? Like common example in the real estate industry. Let's say the closing date is the 20th and you want to have a formula for 1 week before that. You want to send them some type of reminder like, hey, get that wire ready. It's time.
Yeah.
You might just use a formula field and now you would be able to trigger the automation based on that. they've increased a couple limits. It looks like, they revised a couple limits for how many records can be created per day via automation actions. So that would be like adding tasks, meetings, any of those types of workflows. So just a couple little minor improvements, nothing too crazy, but definitely nice to have.
This is really interesting, just totally random here, but the edition naming. So you have free, standard, professional, and enterprise, and ultimate, right? And CRM Plus is ultimate, but now they're calling CRM Plus like its own edition of CRM. And Zoho One, they are actually tagging it back as enterprise and then ultimate. It's kind of interesting. You think you just have those versions because CRM Plus, I think, comes with ultimate, correct? And Zoho One is enterprise. So I wonder if they're starting to. If this is the start of maybe we start to see some changes between, if you have Zoho One, you're getting a something, you know what I mean? A hybrid or something.
I do hope not. I don't think there's any need for more complication and licensing. One last little update. I didn't notice this when I first read it, all the way down at the bottom. This one is sneaky and it's good. So triggering workflows on tasks created via a workflow. So in the past, if let's say you have a deal moves to proposal requested, and it makes a task to send the proposal. Well, if you had a separate workflow that ran on the creation of a task, it would not run that workflow for tasks created by a different workflow. That can be an issue sometimes when you set up like specific notifications around a task, or maybe you have some type of custom function when a task is created. Now it will do that as long as you've not set up some type of loop, which you shouldn't do anyways. So if you were creating a task based on a lead being created and you had a function that created a lead based on a task being created, it would not run that second one because it'll just get caught in an infinite loop. But really nice just to be able to have some of those basic task workflows fire off, whether it was created manually or via a workflow.
Very, very nice. See, there's more there than we thought. All right, moving right along. Hey, you can now achieve full financial control in Zoho Projects by tracking both cost budget, and budgeted hours. This is kind of nice. So historically, you could only track the cost budget, correct?
Well, you can kind of choose. You can kind of choose between the two.
One or the other?
In projects, and you're basically saying either I'm tracking the number of hours we work on this or the number of billable dollar value of those hours that we're working on.
Now you can do both.
Now you can basically track both.
Got it.
So it's just one of those things where you can kind of use one or the other as an analog, but people like to see both. And a lot of reporting looks at one or the other. So the bigger implication here, because obviously if you know your average hour costs $20, then it's pretty easy to get from the cost budget to the budgeted hours, right? But some of the reports are only going to look at one or the other. So that would be one of the things that I would think this would be the most effective at is, looking at like resource allocation, some of the forecasting, just being able to look at each of those independently. I'm sure that's going to make some people really happy to see this.
Very, very, very nice. I was trying to come up with a witty retort there. I had nothing. Several things about ex-wives and joy versus cost, but nothing really. I would track that, but nothing really came.
We'll come back to it later when it comes to you.
I'll work on it. So, Tyler, let's talk about field service management. One of your, you love Zoho FSM. I love it. You like it a lot. You've done quite a few reviews on it and videos on it. They've now introduced a grid mode. So historically, you had Gantt, maps, calendar view, and now you have a grid view. We kind of dug into this a little bit. Seems pretty cool. So what is the main benefit of this grid view going to give you?
Yeah. So this is all taking place in what they call the dispatch console. This is basically once you have a work order and you need to schedule it to be done, you go to the dispatch console and you do it from here. This is honestly my favorite part about FSM a lot of our builds lately will actually do like the estimate process in something like CRM. And then once it's accepted, we'll kind of skip straight to the work order piece inside of FSM just to use this functionality. So this really is like the workhorse of FSM. What the grid view is, if you're watching us on YouTube, this will make more sense, is kind of a left to right calendar by day. So like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, where each row on that calendar is a different assigned person or team or group. Reason this is nice is that you're generally going to schedule appointments for a person to go do them. The previous calendar view, you could see everybody's appointments by day, but it was just a lot, right? Because you could easily imagine on a Tuesday, you might have 5 or 6 appointments that need to be done. So here, essentially what you can do is pull up that list of work orders, filter the users on the left based on their skills, the team that they're a part of, whatever it may be, and then look for that open space. So it is a nice way to do this. I think a lot of people are probably going to use this primarily. So great update. I'm happy to see it. I think it'll make scheduling a lot, especially for big teams, like large users. You can't just use a raw calendar view. It'd be like pulling up the Zenatta calendar and adding all of our consultants to find a free time for a meeting. Like, it's just a lot of stuff sitting on a calendar. Yep. So being able to just group it by user, I think will make a lot of FSM users very happy.
Very, very, very nice. All righty. And moving on with the news, if you use Zoho Recruit, they now have what they're calling a resume harvester. Basically, simple terms. Put what you're looking for into Zoho Recruit and have it go out and search the career sites to find people that are looking for jobs that meet the qualifications that you are after. Don't really give me a list of what they have here, but just judging by some screenshots, it looks like you have Career Builder, Dice, Monster. But this is a nice new feature. Basically, just kind of choose what you're looking for, trying to find candidates with these skills, and then go out and have it do the search for you. Mm-hmm. So
I'd see this being used a lot more heavily on like the staffing agency side. A corporate HR team could use this to hire internally, but you don't need quite the same volume of candidates where you're probably getting enough that are just applying directly to your job posting. But as like a targeted search, if you're a staffing agency, this can be pretty nice, right? Like, hey, I need a group of people with these skills, go find them. And then I'll reach out to that, right? And I'm sure everyone has recruiters in their inbox all the time from LinkedIn and wherever it may be. This is one of the tools that you can use to go outbound and go and actively pursue candidates that may be a good fit for what your client needs. So I'd imagine on the staffing side, they're going to be really happy to see this because this is a tool that exists in a lot of ATS solutions and could be a good fit for Recruit.
Yeah. Very nice. So you got a manual search, got automated. There are limits here of 50 on the professional plan and 100 on the enterprise plan. This is the active auto searches at any one time. Again, Tyler, this is a trend I've noticed now in 2 articles this week.
Yeah.
So Recruit only has 2 versions. It's got professional and enterprise. I think it's got a basic. But now they're saying including Zoho One and People Plus, which are 2 bundles that includes Recruit. Yeah,
and to be clear, too, on those search limits, you probably don't need more than 50 or 100. The auto search is not one candidate who comes in. It's one search that's automatically running. So I could be running a search for someone with finance and Excel and, financial auditing skills. That's one auto search that might generate me 10, 15 candidates. So you can really use this a lot within those limits to get what you need.
Absolutely. So anyway, nice article, nice feature. Well done, Zoho Recruit team. And you know what Zoho hasn't done in a long time, Tyler? It's been at least a couple weeks. They haven't released yet another new application. We should start a pool as to when they're going to get to their 100th application.
I'm
thinking
mid-2025. Maybe my you take the over or the under on that.
How many they have now? Anyway, Zoho has launched Zoho Payments Early Access. That's right. Think Stripe. Basically, if you are looking at this credit card processing, In the U.S., it's credit card processing. In India, they're doing a whole bunch of other things, ACH and other things as well. Appears to be available in India and the U.S. right now. We'll focus on the U.S. Basically, they are, if you wish to, instead of signing up when you sign up, you've got all these choices of who you can have process your credit cards. And there are all these aggregate services like a Stripe, which is, I guess, the 800-pound gorilla in that space. Zoho is now entering this space as well, and it integrates into books, inventory, invoice, billing, checkout, as you would expect. And they have, they're just ready to go. You say, well, what's it cost? Pretty much the same as all of the others that are out there. If you look at them, I mean, it seems to be, especially on these aggregate sites. So there are a lot of companies you can work with where you actually can hire someone. There are a lot of these firms out there. They will do your processing for you, and every single credit card has a different fee. So what they're doing is they're basically saying, oh, if you're using an American Express, it's 4%. If you're using a debit card, it's 0.5%, because the credit, there's different fees that gets charged back, depending on your rewards card, depending on what you're doing. So they will take the averages, and we've looked at them oftentimes and said, hey, I wonder if we can save any money over Stripe, which is 2.9% plus 30 cents a transaction. But about 70% of all of our credit card transactions are American Express.
And a lot of B2B organizations, that's how it's going to be. Amex is the kind of default option in a lot of cases.
It's really the go-to, right? So anyway, in this case, Zoho's doing it nice. They are breaking it down. Most processors don't do this. Most of the aggregate processors, they lump everything in together.
Yeah, most of them, it's either one fixed rate, right, or you pay the completely variable rate. Zoho's kind of taking a middle path, which I actually think is clever. I think this will win them customers.
I agree. So 2.79%, which is going to save you about 0.11% over everybody else that's out there, for plus 30 cents transaction, which is the same as everyone else.
Same as everyone, yeah.
MasterCard, Visa, Discover, Diners Club, random ones, right? So basically, if you are doing that,
Amex. The non-Amex options.
But Amex is no different, 2.9% plus 30 cents, which is pretty much what everybody charges. It's funny how Congress always investigates collusion in pricing. There's something going on with this. Seriously, the whole credit card industry needs to be investigated. The only thing they're stripping out of here, they're making it a little different, is that if a person is using an international, so if you're doing business with someone overseas and they have a MasterCard that was issued not in the United States, then they're going to tack another 1.5 points on top of that as well. But highly competitive, I think. Highly competitive. It sits out there. So
all they need to do, I mean, with Stripe, we'll probably keep using that for the time being, just because it also supports ACH natively through books. And if someone will ACH you, that's the dream, right? You want to let them do that. Always just going to save you some fees against credit cards. But I think they've done something clever by breaking those into the two categories, because 0.11% doesn't sound like a lot, but it is, and it adds up when it's every transaction. And I think it's clever. I think they'll get some adoption with this, especially for smaller businesses just getting started in the finance suite. Like, why not give this a try?
I think it's no brainer.
I think it'll work.
Look, they have a built-in, you just bought Zoho Books. You want to accept it. You want to have people pay your invoices by credit card. I mean,
just click
turn
yes.
it on. Boom. Yeah, away you go.
Smart.
So nice.
Good move, Zoho.
Zoho Payments. There you go. All right. And with that, Tyler, let's get to our implementation of the week.
Alrighty, implementation this week comes from George and Ash on the Zenatta team, and this is all about syncing assets from CRM over to Desk to allow for tracking support tickets against those assets. So in this case, this is the type of client who is, selling, installing, and supporting assets on site for a customer. These are assets that then might require tickets, RMAs, tracking, support requests over the future. And so inside of CRM, we built them a custom module called Assets. So we can basically say this product with SKU equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and serial number ABCD was sold to this customer and is at this location. Now, what happens next is if there's an issue in the future with that product, the client will submit a ticket, which is going to come into Zoho Desk. And really what the client's looking for is being able to associate a ticket with the particular serial number that's having that problem. This just down the line ends up giving you the opportunity to identify, hey, this particular serial number is bad, right? We should just swap it for the customer. Or you can start to get data about this entire SKU seems to have an outsized number of issues. Let's stop selling it, or let's let the manufacturer know. It just gives you that more granular data about where and what types of products are having support tickets against them. So what we needed to do is first create a custom module inside of Zoho Desk to track these assets. That module can look up to the product list so that we know which SKU it is, as well as the customer where this asset is housed. Then we set up a custom function running on a scheduled basis that essentially looks for newly created or updated assets in CRM, because that's always where they're logged first. And then it will push those over to Zoho Desk while linking them with the appropriate customers so that we know on the support side exactly who these assets are for. Then really all we needed to do was add a quick lookup field in the desk ticket that allows a user to search by serial number and choose the appropriate asset that is having a support issue. Just again, gives them that long-term reporting, gives the audit trail for every one of those serialized assets so that we know everything that's been done for it over time. And all around just gives them great visibility into what is going on with all of these various devices that they are servicing. So big shout out to George and Ash. From the minute that custom modules came out in Desk, I've been waiting for this one because I knew that this was a use case for that was going to come up pretty often. So great job using this tool, guys. I am excited to see it in action just because this was one of the things I was most excited about when custom modules were released for Desk.
Fantastic. 2 superstars on Team Zenatta, George and Ash. Fantastic. Loving it. Great job, guys. Okay. Great job. All right. Well, I guess, Tyler, we should head over to Club Zenatta and check out our code share of the week. All right. This one comes from Eddie, another superstar over here at Team Zenatta. Basically, you can mark owner field in CRM module as read-only based on user profile. We were going through this morning. This is pretty cool, Tyler. Basically, you can set it so based upon your user profile, when I guess the example here is a deal reaches a certain stage, certain things can't be changed anymore. And is that what we're doing here?
And so in this particular example, they're looking at like the deal owner field. And let's say that you're a salesperson, and up until the point where you hit the quote requested stage, you can change the owner. What this is saying is basically using a client script, we can adjust that such that when you hit a certain stage or when certain data is entered, other fields become read only. A big one that I would see this being used for as well is once a deal is closed won or closed lost, you can't change the closing date anymore. That's a very common request that we get. That this would be a perfect solution for, because you know how it goes, right? Like, and obviously everybody is ethical and moral, but a sales rep might close a deal on the 31st and maybe they realize, oh, this would actually be a little better for my commission if I could bump this over into the next month on the 1st. So you're basically just disabling that ability to make changes to any field once other field conditions are satisfied. So again, perspective here is from the looking at an owner, but you could really do this for any field that you want to control that edit access for.
Very, very, very nice. And by the way, if you don't know, Club Zenatta is our online social community. Of course, it's online, but it's our community where people of like-minded Zoho users get together and talk about Zoho. And we would love it if you would come join our community and participate. It just would be a fantastic thing. Freddie, are we close to an angel getting his wing this week? I think we might be. I don't know. I'm going to have to take a look at that before we wrap up this show. I think we've actually hit 2,000 users.
Oh, it might be 2,000 right now. Look up in the top right. We got 1, 2, 3 people plus 1,997. So it might be at 2,000 literally right now.
Look at that. All right, 2,000 members over here at Club Zenatta. That's by the way, what a great. Do you know what today is? August 30th, Tyler.
What's that?
It's Jimmy Buffett Day. So we hit 2,000 users. Jimmy Buffett Day. It's a great thing. Florida legislature passed that. That's a day we must all celebrate. Anyway, thank you everybody for supporting us. We keep track of, so all of our code shares are here, things we notice, questions you might want us to answer, all of the events that are coming up in the world of Zoho, all of our events at Zenatta, they're all here. So just head on over to club.zenatta.com and check out all of the latest stuff in the world of Zoho. And please participate in our community. All we request is your email. That's all we take to join. We're going to charge you like $5,000 a year, but not until it really becomes an indispensable resource for you. At that point, we will gouge you, and we will
100%.
But not until then. No. This is like just freebies, just for a little while. All right, let's head over to Zenatta.com and check out our blog of the week. Hey, here we are over at Zenatta, and what do we have? Zoho campaigns, getting started checklist. I like these. Very, 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 very nice. So this is a check. You're going to use Zoho campaigns. There are really a lot of things you need to think about before you start using it, and the team has gone together and really compiled this. We've done versions of this before. We have whole separate blogs on the first one, which is validating your list, and how you might want to do that. But there are so many. So you validate your list, you authenticate your domain, you got to set up your topics, you got to get your syncs, you got to get your opt-outs going, you got to get your segments instead of lists going, create and test your templates, check your reports. There's a lot to it, but if you follow this step-by-step guide, you are guaranteed to have a successful campaign. So nice. I mean, there's a lot to getting a campaign out the door properly.
There's a couple new ones too that, DMARC nowadays is like a need to have. It used to be like, oh, that's nice, he set up DMARC, but you really need to do it now. Wayne actually put together a full article on that a week or two back, so make sure to check that out while you're in here. And you should do that really across the board, CRM. Any domain that you're going to send email from anywhere else, you really want to have that set up. Google is getting very tight about that. At the very least, check out that piece and make sure that you get that done.
Yeah, it used to be just SPF and DKIM. That was all you needed. DMARC was kind of an optional thing, not so much anymore at all. Truly not optional on this list is the validation of your lists.
Yes.
If you're having your domain shut down and made completely unusable is not a good thing.
You do not want to go in the penalty box. Even if you have a list and it's 100% opt-in. Like, let's say we took the Zenatta newsletter where everyone signed up. We don't buy any data. We don't do any of that. And we didn't mail it for 3 months. And then we sent out a mailing. We'd have a big old bounce rate. So you got to do that with an old list before you start doing this campaigning, and just get rid of the ones that are bounces. It's not worth the risk of ending up in the penalty box in your domain.
All righty. And with that, Tyler, you've got yet another tip of the week. So let's head over to YouTube and see what you got for us. Tyler, you have got a CRM Sandbox tutorial that you are stepping everybody through. So if people that aren't familiar, you have your CRM. It's the one you're using. It's your production CRM. Everybody's in there every day. They're working, and you want to try something out. If it's small, sometimes people will just do it live. They'll just push it live into the production. And so as soon as you make that change, it's there. The other way to do it is to build it inside of what is called Zoho's Sandbox. You build it there, and then once you feel it's great, you push it live. This is going to be for stuff that's maybe a little more major or some bigger changes that are coming. Yeah. Anyway, this has been an ever-evolving process. It has gotten better and better and better over time. So you decided to spin up a whole new tutorial on this. What have you found? You pleased with it?
Happier and happier. So there's still the odds and ends functionality that isn't supported in Sandbox, like mail merge. Zoho, if you're listening, please, please, please mail merge. Same with dashboards and home pages. We need those there. But what sparked this video is recently, thank you, Freddie. I love this little this little highlight. What sparked this video is recently I rolled a large change out for a client. Their entire lead flow was working through a blueprint, and we wanted to completely restructure it. New process, new everything. That is not something that's going to work well if we do it in production. Blueprints are very fixed, very static. So we wanted to build it, invite a small team of users into the sandbox to test it, really hammer on that thing, then roll it out. There's a larger customer, hundreds of salespeople. Like, this can't go wrong, right? It needs to go smoothly. And the whole process of deployment and everything was way smoother than it used to be. It's still a little funky with connections, API connections. So you might just need to manually recreate those in production. It's such as life. That's not too big of a deal. But yeah, they made leaps and bounds. The deployment went way smoother. When there are conflicts, like I show one in here, they do a much better job at like telling you exactly what it is and making it easy to fix the conflict. The one thing I will highlight, if you're going to go down the path of using sandboxes, is once you've created that sandbox and you start to work there, really try not to make any changes in production in the interim. That is the only time where things are going to go weird. That's not really Zoho's fault. That's going to happen in any sandbox system because it's taking a snapshot of what production looked like right then. And so then if I go in and add a field to production later, that's not going to be in sandbox. So then you get into that thing where you add it to production and then go add it to sandbox. And then when you push it, it's a conflict. So just really try to make that decision. If you're going to use Sandbox, halt the development in production until you're done there. That helps a lot when you get into deploying things and making sure that they're actually going to work as intended.
Fantastic. All righty. Great stuff. And as always, if you head over to youtube.com/Zenatta, that is where we have all of our videos. We're dropping 2, 3, 4, 5 a week. Depends on the week. You give us the suggestions. We will put them in. It's always the CRM Zen Show. Anyway, head on over to youtube.com/Zenatta and please subscribe and like and do all that kind of stuff. We really would appreciate your support over there. All right, Tyler. Well, with that, another CRM Zen Show is in the bag. Been a good week, buddy. Good month.
Week. A lot of news.
Good year
busy
so
month,
far.
Busy week. Absolutely. Looking forward to Q3 or Q4 coming up on us here before we know it.
I know. I'm looking forward to have a little executive retreat coming up in Tahoe.
We're meeting up in Tahoe coming up here in just a few weeks here, honestly.
3 weeks. Yeah. We'll be floating around on Lake Tahoe or doing whatever we're going to do.
Getting the band back together.
Getting the band back together. Be good time. So everybody, thank you so much for joining us. As always, if you would like to get a hold of us over at Zenatta, just head over to zenatta.com and click on book a meeting, and we'll be talking to you in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. That's a little callback to last week if you missed it.
That is a callback. Very nice. On the website is also where you'll find complete episodes of the show, as well as links to all the stories we discussed today. If you want that news delivered straight to your inbox every Monday morning, be sure to subscribe to our newsletter. And last but not least, we always appreciate when you like and subscribe here on YouTube, as well as your choice of podcast app. We'll see you next Friday.
That's right. We'll be there like grease lightning, like a bat out of hell on the double. Swift as an arrow, lickety split.
Brett's losing it. Absolutely losing it.
Lots of ways to get there fast. Have a great weekend, everybody.